Hello YouTube, my name is Nero. Today we have some Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, and what I thought we would do for this video is count down all the maps currently available in Modern Warfare Remastered and rank them from worst to first. I thought this was actually pretty interesting while I was putting together this video because I remember all these maps back in Call of Duty 4 and seeing how they have actually changed here in Modern Warfare Remastered, how the community has played them differently, and how my opinion of these maps has actually changed going from Call of Duty 4 up to Modern Warfare Remastered. I thought it would make for a very interesting video, and of course, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this down there in the comment section below, but there are currently 16 maps available in Modern Warfare Remastered, not counting Winter Crash and not counting the Remastered Variety Map Pack that has been showing up in game files, so let's get into it. Otherwise, it's going to be a super long video. Number 16 is going to be Shipment. Keep in mind, yes, we are going worst to first, and in my opinion, Shipment is the worst map in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. This is actually pretty difficult for me to say, because if you guys caught my top 10 maps in Call of Duty history video, I ranked Shipment as my number 2 favorite map of all time back in 2014. The reason why it's so far down here in Modern Warfare Remastered is how the community has adopted Shipment. Shipment no longer is actually about trying to win whatsoever. Shipment is all about throwing grenades and spawn trapping, which you could say that's what it's always been about, right? But there's something about the way it was back in 2007 compared to 2016/2017. I just don't find myself having any fun on Shipment anymore. Every time I play, it's either a matter of I'm gonna just completely dominate the other team, which of course is very fun. You're kind of seeing that in the gameplay, but most of the time, it's a very competitive match of me constantly being hit by grenades, me being constantly shot through walls, and just struggling to go positive. Now, as somebody who cares about their kill-death ratio, it's difficult to maintain over a 2 KD on this map every single time you play it. So overall, I just don't have fun on Shipment anymore. It was fun back in the day. It was fun when Modern Warfare Remastered first came out, but after a while, I just stopped having fun on this map, and now I try to avoid it the best I can. If it shows up in the map rotation and it gets voted for, I will typically just back out of the lobby, and that's why it comes in here at number 16. Coming in at number 15 is going to be BLOC, which is one of the worst maps in Call of Duty history, in my opinion. Now, remember on Shipment, I said it was one of my favorite maps in COD history, and I said as much in a video. Well, I did a different video called the top 10 worst maps in Call of Duty history, and this map was actually on there, right? Because BLOC is one of the worst maps ever, in my opinion. Like, I'm going to reiterate a lot of what I said in that video. I love the setting, right? I love the aesthetic. I love that we're playing in Pripyat, which is a real-life abandoned city. It's a really cool idea for a map. It's just the way that it plays is no fun whatsoever. You have these giant long buildings on either side of the map, which is basically like playing a giant game of Red Rover. One building is usually occupied by one team, the other building is usually occupied by the other team, and you just kind of like have this long-range sniper war where people are afraid to move. Domination on this map is typically difficult to play because you have the B flag out there in the middle of no man's land, and you're always one grenade or one sniper shot away from death. It's a giant map, takes forever to get anywhere. I just don't enjoy playing on this map, although again, I love the aesthetic, I love the setting, I love everything about it besides the way that it plays, and if it shows up in the map rotation similar to Shipment, we typically back out because it feels like a chore to play on this map. Coming in at number 14, we are going to have the map Showdown, or as I like to call it, Mini BLOC. If you really think about it, a lot of things that are very annoying about BLOC are also true on the map Showdown. It's just on a smaller scale. So Showdown was fun back in the day because at the very beginning of the game, everybody would run down the tunnel and then there would be a giant spawn snipe war, basically, where people would hit doubles and triples and quads and even six-mans. We've seen that back in Call of Duty 4. People don't do that here in Modern Warfare Remastered, and without that, there's no fun on this map for me whatsoever because I hate the way that it plays. Kind of similar to BLOC. You always have people in the upstairs area kind of surrounding the middle, and it's just like this giant game of Red Rover where they're all on one side, you're all on the other side, and people are just constantly picking each other off while never leaving their little two-story windows, basically. It's no fun to play, in my opinion. It's one of the worst maps in Modern Warfare Remastered, and I personally just hate playing on it. Mini BLOC, I'm telling you guys, if you hate BLOC and then you play on Showdown, think about it, you're going to notice these similarities, and you're going to think to yourself, wow, this map actually is pretty terrible. Coming in at number 13 is going to be the map Downpour. Now, I don't think it's any surprise to anybody to see Downpour this low in the list, but the reason why Downpour came in at number 13 is because of how unbalanced the map really is. Now, I will say, it did get better. When they updated the spawn system and made it so that the spawns did not flip nearly as much, this map definitely became a lot more fun to play, but overall, it's a very unbalanced map, especially if you're trying to play game modes like Domination. That giant wall that you have to deal with is just ridiculous. Like, if you own B and C, you pretty much win because the other team has to crawl through a hole in the wall, which is like literally shooting fish in a barrel just to try and get to B, or they have to turn the corner where it's also like shooting fish in a barrel. It's very, very easy to control this map if you control the side of the wall that has the B flag and the C flag. And overall, it's just one of those maps where it's just not designed very well. It's just pretty much imbalanced. It's a very long map. It kind of feels like a chore to play. And just overall, I don't think I really need to harp on it too much. It's not very fun to play, and people typically tend to agree with that because it never gets voted for in the map rotation, and that's why it comes in here at number 13. Coming in at number 12 is going to be the map Crossfire. Now, I feel as though we just crossed a threshold here, right? The previous 4 maps, Downpour, Showdown, BLOC, and Shipment, those are maps that I will legitimately back out of the lobby if they show up in the rotation, because I typically don't want to play in those maps. The rest of the maps here on the list are all maps that I will play, all maps that I enjoy, but I'm just ranking them in what I consider to be like my least favorite to my favorite of the good maps here in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. So, of the good maps in the game, Crossfire is the least good map in my opinion. What is the infatuation that the Call of Duty community seems to have with this map? I remember when Modern Warfare Remastered was announced, everybody for some reason was in love with the idea that Crossfire was going to be coming back. Now, perhaps these people are snipers, because if you want to snipe on this map, it's actually pretty fun. It's one of those maps where people are always popping their heads out of windows, so it's very easy to get headshots on those guys and just be a sniper pretty much. But aside from that, like, I just don't feel as though it does anything really that well. If you're a submachine gun player or an assault rifle player or a shotgun player, like, the map is good for all those playstyles, but it doesn't do any of them exceptionally well or anything like that. It's just one of those maps where it shows up in the rotation, I play it, I typically have fun. It's okay. It's a solidly okay map, and that's why it comes in here at number 12. Coming in at number 11, we have the map Overgrown, or as I like to call it, Overrated. It's not a bad map. It's really not a bad map. It's one of those maps where I have fun on it, sure, but it's one of those maps where everybody seems to have this infatuation. And to be fair, I will say it's an iconic map. Perhaps it's because they remade this map in Modern Warfare 2. That may be the reason why. I'm not entirely sure, but when I think of Call of Duty 4, for some reason, I get visions of Overgrown. I remember Grandma's house and being on top of the roof. I remember sniping people from the gas station in the back of the map. I remember the turret buildings. I remember the covered bridge. I remember all of the aspects of this map. It's iconic for sure. There's no denying that. But here in Modern Warfare Remastered, it's one of those maps where it's very hit or miss as to whether or not I am going to have fun. And fun, of course, is very subjective. For me, I don't need to be going 70 and 10 to be having fun on the map. I could be going 25 and 20 and still be having fun, assuming it's a competitive match and assuming I'm enjoying how you have to play on that map to actually be successful. To be successful on Overgrown, most of the time, you need to be somebody who is using an assault rifle or a sniper rifle. And as somebody who likes to run around with like SMGs and stuff like that a whole lot, this is one of those maps where it's very hit or miss. It depends really on whether or not the other team is all going to be sitting in buildings. And it's one of those maps where I either have a lot of fun or really not fun at all. And that's why it comes in here at number 11. Number 10 is going to be Countdown. One of the maps, of course, we got with the December update, which has really changed, at least in my opinion, compared to Call of Duty 4. You see, back in Call of Duty 4, I hated Countdown. Countdown was not a fun map to play on. Picture Countdown as a flat, open field with a bunch of gunk in the middle of it. 'Cause that's really what it is if you think about it. It's this big, flat area, and there are a bunch of these, like, silos and a bunch of, like, road blockers and stuff like that, all throughout the entirety of the map that really ruin your line of sight. For one reason or another, I don't know if it's the way the community plays now or how things have changed, but I have a lot more fun on this map in Modern Warfare Remastered than I did back in Call of Duty 4. I think part of it is, especially after they updated the spawn system, people have this idea that they don't need to play the objective to actually be successful, and on this map, you need to play the objective if you want to be successful. If you're playing a game of domination and you're not trying to take the B flag, or at least trying to own the center of the map, if you're content with sitting back and just trying to snipe or use an M16, very quickly, you are going to get pushed into the back of a hangar, and we are shooting shooting fish in a barrel. We are lined up outside of that hangar, aiming at it, waiting for you to come around that box. I love that aspect of the map a whole lot, and whenever it shows up in the rotation, I still have this idea in my head where it's like, countdown. I didn't like it that much back in COD 4, but just about every time I played here in Modern Warfare Remastered, I have a good time, and that's why I came in here at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is going to be the map Bog, which is actually a bit of a fall from grace. If you guys caught my top 10 maps in Call of Duty history, Bog was actually one of them, but here it is as number 9, only in Modern Warfare Remastered. You would think if it's one of the top 10 maps in COD history to me, it would be number 1 or number 2 on this list, but alas, it dropped all the way down here to number 9. My opinion of this map has definitely changed a whole lot here in Modern Warfare Remastered as compared to Call of Duty 4, and the reason why is how the community has decided to play on Bog. Back in Call of Duty 4, Bog was one of those maps where if you did not capture the B flag, suddenly you were being dominated. You were pushed back into the C building, and it was like shooting fish in a barrel. That is somewhat true here in Modern Warfare Remastered after they updated the spawns and made them more in line with what they were like back in Call of Duty 4, but leading up until that point, Bog was one of those maps where people would not play the objective, and to this day, even after the update, people still don't play the objective on this map, and they get rewarded for not playing the objective. It seems like on either side, people just pull out sniper rifles, they pull out M16s, they pull out their frag times 3, and all they really decide to do is sit back and try to get kill streaks, because airstrikes on this map, as you guys know, are ridiculously powerful. Helicopters, if left unchecked, are incredibly powerful, and I find that people just don't care about the objective on this map. They sit back, they are content with losing, and I hate that. When people have apathy towards the objective, apathy towards winning, it bothers me so much. It's no fun if nobody on the other team is actually trying to play the objective, yet they still have a 2 KD, because they're just all setting up with sniper rifles and M16s and stuff like that. I see that all the time when I play on Bog now, whereas back in the day, it was not really that. Now, of course, I do have a lot of fun still on Bog. It's one of those maps where it's very difficult to make me have a bad game. It just is. I'm pretty good on this map, but I hate the way the community plays it. I really do. People don't play the objective, and they get rewarded for not playing the objective. They just sit back and pick people off and get kills, and I hate when people play like that, and that's why Bog comes in here at number 9. Coming in at number 8, and this is a bit of a shocker for me personally, we have the map Pipeline. I did not like Pipeline back in COD 4. It was a chore to play on. It was a giant map, and just the way people played it, it was not a lot of fun back in COD 4. For one reason or another, it again comes down to how the community has been playing the game. I have thoroughly enjoyed playing on Pipeline since it came to Modern Warfare Remastered in the December update. There is something about navigating around on this map with a silenced submachine gun that is just fun to me. I also love the way the map looks. I think that might actually give it a couple more points than it actually deserves, because I'm a big fan of aesthetic and theme and stuff like that. And when I look at this map, I still to this day get vibes of World War II. And I've often talked about this idea of them adding in map kits, if you will, where they were to just redesign a map for an event kind of similar to what we saw with Winter Crash. And I think it would be really cool if they were to go full on World War II with this map, because it is very close already to World War II in my opinion. It looks like a very old Russian set of factories out in the middle of nowhere. It has this World War II vibe to me, which I think is actually very cool. And the way it's actually played is interesting, unlike most of the other maps in the game. Like, you have the giant 2-story on top of the one warehouse. You have the entire underground section. You, of course, have the buildings, the turret building. You can go into the field at the very far end of the map. It's one of those unique maps that is always fun to play, in my opinion. If I want to snipe, if I want to use an assault rifle, a silent submachine gun, like a silent SMG with UAV jammer is one of my favorite ways to play on this map. And overall, just unlike in Call of Duty 4, I have a lot of fun on Pipeline, whereas I did not back in the day, and that's kind of cool to me. So I like Pipeline, I enjoy it, and that's why it comes in here at number 8. Coming in at number 7, we have the map Wetwork. Now, this is another example of a map that was not really all that great back in Call of Duty 4, becoming a very good map here in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. In fact, back in Call of Duty 4, back when people actually used to use microphones and stuff pretty consistently, back before the days of party chat, people typically did not want to play on Wetwork. It was a map that people in the community had this perception of it as a bad map, right? Every time it showed up, people would say vote the boat or skip the ship. Basically, people were saying to not vote for Wetwork, vote for whatever other map was up in the rotation, right? And here in Modern Warfare Remastered, I see a lot more people actually voting for the map because it's actually very fun to play. There are definitely some problems that carry over from Call of Duty 4, like frag times 3 is still brokenly powerful here on this map. But aside from that, especially after they updated the spawn system, it is a map where it's a game of tug of war on a giant ship in the middle of the ocean in the middle of a thunderstorm, right? It's a very cool setting, and you guys know how it plays. Every time this map loads up, right, you meet in the middle of the map and there's a gunfight, right? There's a big war in the very middle of the map, and whichever team wins starts pushing the other team back. And it's like a giant game of tug of war, trying to push the other team to the far end of the ship. And if things go well on this map, they can definitely snowball out of control very, very quickly. It's very easy to get a lot of kills on this map if you have a good team and the other team is not that good. And overall, I just have a lot of fun when I play on Wetwork, and that's why it comes in here at number 7. Coming in at number 6, we have the map District, which is one of my favorite maps from Call of Duty 4, and that is no different, of course, here in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. This map has been like a rock for me ever since the release of the game, because every time it shows up in the rotation, if I'm having a bad night or if I just had a bad game, if I see District in the map rotation, it's like, here comes District. You know, it's going to be a good match. If you guys don't know, District is actually incredibly well balanced. It was so well balanced that back in the Call of Duty 4 days of Major League Gaming, this was one of the competitive maps. So yeah, we had competitive Call of Duty way back when, and this is one of the maps they actually used because it was actually so well balanced. On a gameplay level, I do enjoy how you have to actually play on this map to be successful, and I also enjoy how many cool little fun side tidbits there are on this map, like getting up into that what people call the glitch spot above the market, getting on top of the rooftop of the market. Of course, you have the entire long line of sight you have on the B Street. Overall, this map has a very nice mix of gameplay aspects, and if you want to be somebody who wants to sit back with a sniper rifle and cover the B flag on the long street, you can definitely do that. If you want to play with an assault rifle or a submachine gun or even a shotgun, this is one of the few maps in the game where shotguns are actually viable. Overall, District is very well balanced and it's very fun to play, and that's why it comes in here at number 6. Coming in at number 5, we have the map Strike, and honestly, it baffled me when Strike was not available in Modern Warfare Remastered right from the very beginning, because of course this is one of the maps that actually showed up in the December update. Strike was a freaking good map back in Call of Duty 4. It was one of the competitive maps. In fact, Domination and Search and Destroy were both used for competitive play on this map. It was a map that was so well received, they remade it in Modern Warfare 2 as a DLC map, yet for some reason it was not good enough to be in the game at launch. I have a feeling the reason why Strike was not put in the game from the very beginning was, 1, it possibly was not yet finished. They needed more time to actually complete it, but 2, perhaps they decided to include this in the December update because they wanted to have at least one very, very good map in the December update. If you think about it, the December update maps were like BLOC, Showdown, Countdown, Wetwork, Pipeline. These are typically maps that back in Call of Duty 4 were not considered to be some of the best maps in the game, but Strike was. So maybe they decide, you know, we're going to have one very, very good map in the December update, so fans will be excited for that. Maybe that, I don't know, that's just my personal thought. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that down there in the comment section below. On a gameplay level, I freaking love playing on Strike. It's a very competitive map for all game modes. It's enjoyable to play on, and I really can't go into too much detail. It's a fun freaking map to play on. It's viable for all play styles, and it's very fun in all game modes, which is not true of every map in the game, right? I enjoy Search and Destroy on this map just as much as I enjoy Domination, just as much as I enjoy Headquarters, or now Hardpoint. It's a fun map to play on. It has some very unique locations and some very unique ways to play, and overall, it's very fun. So that's why I came in here at number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have the map Ambush, which is one of the most underrated maps in this game, in my opinion. Like, I see people voting away from Ambush for one reason or another. Perhaps they're trying to vote for Shipment to get to show up in the rotation. I have no idea, but people typically aren't voting for Ambush these days, which bothers me because I really do enjoy playing on this map for a number of reasons. I think the biggest reason is if you know lots of really odd lines of sight, if you know just like perfect head glitch spots, if you know perfect grenade spots, you are going to do very, very well on this map. A good example would be jumping outside, quote unquote, of the map and getting inside of the extra buildings. Now, these are actually intended for you to actually get in there. They intended for us, even back in Call of Duty 4, to get here. They want us to get here. It's part of the actual map itself. Yet you don't see a lot of people utilizing this because a lot of people don't even know how to do that. There are plenty of examples of really fun and interesting lines of sight on this map. I do love the fact that the B flag is in the dead center with the 2 buildings overlooking it. That's something we actually see in Call of Duty a lot these days, especially if you think of Treyarch maps. Think of pretty much every Treyarch map in the game mode Domination. You have your B flag, and then you have 2 buildings directly overlooking the B flag for either side of the map, and that kind of started back in Call of Duty 4 with Ambush. Now, I'm sure there are other maps that came before it that did this, but it was one of those ideas that ended up becoming a staple for the Call of Duty franchise. When it comes to actual gameplay balance, it's also one of those maps where you can be very successful as a sniper, very successful as a submachine gun player, very successful as an assault rifle player. Everything you really want to do on this map can be done. There are plenty of fun and interesting locations and interesting gunfights that you get into on this map, and overall, it's just one of my favorite maps from Call of Duty 4. It remains true here in Modern Warfare Remastered, and that's why I came in here at number 4. Coming in here at number 3, we have the map Crash, and I don't think it's a surprise to any of you to see Crash this high up on the list, because Crash is one of the most iconic maps in Call of Duty history, and in my opinion, is one of the best maps in Call of Duty history. It was so good and so well loved by the community back in Call of Duty 4 that they remade it into Modern Warfare 2 as a DLC map. Back in the day, back in Call of Duty 4, they made Winter Crash on the PC because fans love this map so much and they wanted to have like a holiday themed map. They of course remade Winter Crash here in Modern Warfare Remastered, gave it its own playlist, and overall Crash is freaking fun to play on, is it not? From a competitive standpoint, Crash is definitely one of the best maps in the game, and from a casual standpoint, I would say it's also one of the best maps in the game. People tend to just enjoy this map. It shows up in rotation. People typically vote for it, and I have so many great memories on this map. Even here in Modern Warfare Remastered, like I have new memories thanks to this map, playing, oh my goodness, grinding out Winter Crash during the event and playing Search and Destroy on this map and infiltrating the 3-story building, getting people off top of the 3-story building, the long history this map has within the Call of Duty community with things like the Poland shot. Overall, one of the best maps in Call of Duty history. I get excited every time it shows up in the rotation, even to this day, and that's why it came in here at number 3. Coming in at number 2, we have the map Vacant. Now, Vacant is here for a wide variety of reasons. Number 1, I have a lot of freaking fun on this map. How fun is Vacant? And I think everyone seems to agree with that. I see so many people voting for Vacant now, whereas back in COD 4, it was not exactly a very popular map. Like back then, I remember playing on the map quite a bit. I remember doing well and having fun. In my memory, I picture myself running around with like an AK-74U and really trying to own the interior of the map, which is pretty much true of how I play even today. But I feel as though this map is one of the best maps for actual balance in the game, because you can really play however you want to play. There are still snipers on this map that can still do well, myself included. Shotgunning is actually viable on this map, which is something that I never see in Modern Warfare Remastered these days. Like, shotgunning is a forgotten art here in this game. I mean, you see it, of course, on Shipment. People are like, oh boy, shotgun time, you know? And you see it on some of the other maps, like maybe on District and stuff. But Vacant is where shotgunning can really, really shine. It's one of the most competitive maps in the game, in my opinion. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I have had more competitive matches on Vacant. Very difficult matches, you know, heart-stopping moments at the very end where we suddenly capture the B flag as basically time is about to expire just to get us to win, winning 200 to 199. Like, we have so many of these moments on this map, and people seem to really enjoy playing on it. On a side note, I really do enjoy the fact that old school mode has not been updated or changed or anything like that. You can still do the glitch to get on top of the roof and run around up there, which I personally love, little stuff like that. It brings back a lot of great memories, a lot of nostalgia, and that's a lot of why I like this map. I have a lot of great memories on Vacant, a lot of nostalgia, but I also have a lot of brand new memories on this map because I love playing it, and we've had so many great, fun, competitive matches and stuff. So it's very interesting to me. Like, Vacant was one of the middle-of-the-road maps back in COD 4 for me, whereas it's the number 2 map for me here in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. Overall, very freaking fun map, and I think most people tend to agree because it always seems to get voted for. The number 1 map, and this should be no surprise to those of you guys that have been following me for a long time, BACKLOT. I freaking love BACKLOT here in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. Of course, you've been keeping track. You knew there was only one map left in the entire game, so you knew it was going to be BACKLOT, but BACKLOT's my favorite map here in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. And it's one of those maps where it's kind of difficult to break down as to exactly why I like it so much. I think from a gameplay perspective, it's one of the most balanced maps in the entire game. I do love the fact that when you spawn in, like as soon as the game actually starts, that there are spawn grenades, many different spawn grenades in many different spots that you have to know, which really kind of sets the tempo for the rest of the game as a whole. It's a very balanced and fun map if you're playing Search and Destroy. For domination, there are little tiny things that you can learn about this map to make you a better player. Like, for example, being able to capture the B flag from on top of the roof rather than laying down there actually on the B flag itself. All the very long lines of sight that you actually have on the B flag itself. I love the fact that if you push the opposing team back, you can really spawn trap them pretty hard on this map. I like the fact that we have turrets on either side of the map, which can help deal with helicopters. I love the fact there's a 3-story in the very middle of the map where you can actually get on top of it. There's so many layers to the gameplay on this map that just makes it very interesting for me to play. I love it so much, but here's the thing. it never gets voted for. I am baffled when I play Modern Warfare Remastered, and my buddy Cypher can vouch for me here because he's in my games when this happens as well. We will have a perfectly good set of maps in the rotation. Like we'll see BACKLOT is right there with, I don't know, Ambush being the other map or something like that, and people will vote random because they hope for shipment. Everybody just seems to hope for shipment, and they don't like take the time to enjoy the greatness, at least in my opinion, the greatness that is BACKLOT. This is the best map in Modern Warfare Remastered in my opinion, which is why you see it so much here on my YouTube channel. I remember there was, I think it was like 3 straight videos. It was, the gameplay was me playing Domination on BACKLOT using a submachine gun. They were all different gameplays from like different days, I think even, but it was all just me using a submachine gun on BACKLOT because it's a freaking good map, and I always seem to do well whenever I play on it. It's the best map here in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, and that's why I came in here at number 1. That, ladies and gentlemen, is going to conclude my breakdown of these 16 maps and my rankings of the 16 maps here in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. This video took a lot longer to put together than I thought, but I wanted to give you guys some actual content. You know, it would have been very simple to be like, all right, guys, number 16 is shipment. Why? Because shipment sucks. Number 15 is BLOC. You know why? BLOC sucks. Number 14, it just, you know, not really actually give you guys any detail, not try to explain myself. There were times where it was kind of difficult to explain my thoughts and feelings towards the map. Like, for example, on District, like, it's hard to put my finger on why I like District so much, but I just freaking love playing on it. That's why I ranked it so high, but it's hard to put that into words, and so I try my best to actually describe why I like the map, but at times it's difficult. It's all complete personal opinion. It's all just my own personal thoughts and feelings towards the maps, and of course, I'd love to hear down there in the comments, what are your favorite maps here in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, and if you want to go all 16, awesome. I'd be more than happy to read your list of 1 through 16, but if you guys just want to give me the short and sweet, like what's your favorite couple maps in the game, what are your least favorite maps in the game, of course, I'd love to hear about that as well. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. My voice is starting to go back towards the beginning of the video and hear how my voice sounded at the very beginning, and now catch it at the very end after I had to make some revisions and stuff like that. It can definitely sound like my voice is starting to go, so I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Drop me a rating. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.